What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Here we are, my friends. Thank you so much for stopping by, for joining us, for watching this video, and hopefully for subscribing and showing us a little appreciation that way. So here we are, Midday Monologue Monday, where I like to talk about things related to board games. And one of the things that I've talked about several times and where we're revisiting here and now is building up your board game collection. Maybe you're just starting out, maybe you already started, but you're looking to improve and enlarge it. Now, whatever the reason is, I'm here to help. Now, this is going to be the first part of a two-parter. This has happened before, where I just have so many suggestions for you. I can't justify the time of putting it all into one single episode. So that'll be in either the next or one of the very next coming up episodes of Midday Monologue Monday. We'll get to part 2. But my friends, here we go. You're looking to build a cooperative game collection? I've got some great ideas for you. So why don't you come down and join me at the table? So, here you are looking to build a cooperative board gaming collection for your shelves, for your game room, for your game closet, or wherever it is you store your stuff. You're looking for some more games that you and your friends can celebrate a win together in. I'm a big fan of cooperative games. And that's why I think probably this list has had to be divided into two parts. Now, I'm going to go by style, by genre, by theme, if you will. And there's one I can think of that really stands out if you're into the Old West. Now, if you're into that scene, what the movies used to be called dusters, if you're into those, then you're really going to want to check out Shadows of Brimstone by Flying Frog Production. This is a big, huge production of a game. There's 2 huge coffin-size core boxes that come with this, and there's a ton, a ton of expansions. This is the kind of game, if you're looking for an RPG in a box that uses an AI card system instead of a DM so that everyone can play, this is the game you're looking for. You're going to have character class trees, so you're going to be able to grow your character one way or another. Even if you both have the same type, even if you both have a gunslinger, a few levels in, you're going to be completely different types of gunslingers. This is a game that is really going to get you guys crazy at the table, especially if you enjoy mixing things up, because this mixes up a fair share of horror. Very Cthulhian style horror set in the Old West. The tiles and components are fantastic. I love looking at them, and everything in this game, they've done a wonderful job bringing this all together. So if you like Old West settings and you're looking for a cooperative game, then that is a pretty good place to start then, is Shadows of Brimstone. Now maybe you're looking for some cooperative horror games, and there's a lot of them as well. So let me go through a few that really stand out to me, because I think you might be interested in getting some more information on some of these titles. Now, one of the first things that comes to my mind is A Touch of Evil. Now, this game doesn't have to be played cooperatively. Maybe that's another bonus for you. It can be played solo, and it can be played competitively. But still, ultimately, you're all trying to stop this very Johnny Depp, Sleepy Hollow style situation, bad guy, monster, villain from destroying everything and winning. It does a great job of bringing certain elements into a game that I really haven't encountered a lot before. I like that you have to deal with the townsfolk. You have to deal with them and their lunacy at times, their manipulativeness, And maybe some of them are actually in league with whatever it is you're trying to put down. The game has a good growth system as well. There's two major expansions for this that build out the entire world where it's set at. And the boards are small enough that even when you have all three out, it's only just barely going to be a huge footprint on your table, I think. Well, the cards take up a little space. But this does have a very unused, I think, setting. A lot of games don't use a setting like this. It's set in that like 1899 time period, the late 1800s, and it comes off beautifully. They did a great job. It really does make you feel like you're in that time period. But that's not the only horror game. Now, maybe you're more into some of the Cthulhian style of concepts. And if so, there's a few of them. A great cooperative game for this is Pandemic: Reign of Cthulhu. Building upon the engine and the concept of the original Pandemic game, only instead of using viruses, this is using cultists and Shoggoths and the darkness of the elder beings themselves literally looming over you on this game board. It is a damn tough version. I've had so many losses in this game, more wins in the regular Pandemic game than I've ever had in this very tough, notched up version of it. The components are all fun, and it's a good night fun, I think. It's a good popcorn game, so to speak. Sit back with a drink or two of your choice, and something to snack on, and you and friends have a good time with this Z-Man title, I think. There are two titles by Fantasy Flight Games that I want to point out to you. There is a lot, actually, I could delve further into, but there's two that I really like and I wanted to point out, and one of them is Eldritch Horror. Eldritch Horror is the large worldwide version of Arkham Horror. Instead of taking place just in Arkham, this is all over the world. Your investigators are going to be traveling from all points around the globe, finding clues and gaining artifacts, and ultimately trying to put everything together so you know how to stop this elder being from rising. The game's replayability is right through the roof. Not just because there's a lot of choices in the core game itself, but being an FFG game, as you can imagine, and a Cthulhian game on top of that, they really push the hell out of the expansions for this game. Just like they do for the other title I want you to be aware of, and that's Elder Sign. Elder Sign is another great Cthulhian cooperative game, and this is, with the exception of some of the expansions, this is set solely in the Miskatonic Museum. And it takes place over the course of one single night. Well, one single set of nights as you are trying to figure out what's going on and ultimately stop this ancient evil from coming through the world here at the museum. Both of these games are cooperative fun. They're going to get you guys working together, and you're going to be having to solve this. Whatever the problem is, wherever in the world, or wherever in the museum it may be. Now, before we come to an end with the horror section here, there's one last title, actually two, that I want to point out to you. And these titles are by Ravensburger, and they are horrified. There's two titles for it. The first one that came out was Universal Monsters, based on that, on the Universal Monsters, the famous iconic versions they have of Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, etc., etc., etc. There's also a Horrified based on American monsters that deals with cryptid monsters that have allegedly been seen and encountered across the states of America. Now, both of these games, cooperatively, you're going to have fun gaining items that you're going to need to put down the monsters. And each monster is different and unique. It is its own little mini game that you're going to have to win in order to get to the monster and then to put the monster down, or however it's going to be dealt with. Some of the monsters are chased away. Frankenstein and the bride are taught love and humanity. Dracula is staked. So they all have their own little mini games and their own reasons of what's going on, why you have to handle them, and both games. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. These games, anytime I put them down on the table, they are just played and played and played, and we just love them. We can't get enough of them. Once it gets to the table, that's pretty much it. There's not going to be anything else played that day. So those are some of the horror games that are cooperative. But why don't we take a look at some sci-fi? I can't believe how many sci-fi board games I've played over the years and that I own that are cooperative and just still blow my mind. I think this is the largest chunk of this video coming up right now is the sci-fi board games. Now let's, Star Wars Imperial Assault. Now, technically, this is a one versus all, but if you have the app, if you use the app on your phone or your iPad or whatever you have, then you're going to be able to run this game as a fully cooperative game, and the app will be running as the Empire, which is why I put it on. It is a really fun game, and if you want to feel like you are in the middle of the Star Wars movies, this is the way to go. These are little RPGs, actually. They are little role-playing games. Your characters are going to advance and get better as things continue to go on for them. As they do one mission after the other, they will get more gear. They will continue to better themselves. And you need to, because things are going to get tougher the higher levels you go. And this is, if you're going to be playing Star Wars and you want that real RPG feel, then Imperial Assault, you don't have much of a choice. That's the way you're going to go. Now, another old movie franchise from sci-fi history has a board game that's cooperative, and this is really weird and different, which is why I enjoy it. Oh, and the IP, of course. IDW Games had come out with Planet of the Apes, based on the original movie, not one of the remakes. And in this version, you and the other players, depending on how many, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you and the other players are Bright Eyes' Taylor's, Charlton Heston, the character he plays. You're his mind. You know, it's almost like id, ego, super ego. Not really, but along those lines. You're all playing different aspects of his personality. And you have to work together with the other aspects, the other players, in order to get him through these scenes, or else all hell is going to break loose. You're going to lose. You have to get Taylor through the movie scenes. And the only way to do that is for his different aspects, his different personalities to really come together. And this is, it's not completely unique, but it's unique enough that I've never played it before. And there's only a couple of references in my mind that are anywhere similar to it. It's going to give you a good run for your money, but unfortunately the replayability is not going to be super high. But I still think this game is worth being played and being checked out. Ghostbusters, the board game. There's actually two. There's Ghostbusters, the board game 2. Also, I guess this can cover both of them. So if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, then this is the way you're going to want to go. This miniature board game is set up for you to literally bust the ghosts, close down the portals to the ghost dimension, and to finish off the bad guys. There are mission cards that are going to be different missions each time you play the game, at least for a certain number of times you play the game. And these mission cards are really going to bring everything together. So as the monsters and the action goes, your players, the ectomobile, working with that, moving through that, collecting the ghosts. It feels like Ghostbusters. Maybe not the movie so much, obviously a little, but this is based more on the cartoon show and the IDW comic book run of Ghostbusters. So if you're a fan of those, even more so you're going to enjoy this game. But it does pull aspects from the two movies into the board games. So this way it really covers every Ghostbuster fan out there. Whether you like the movies, the comic books, or the cartoons, you're going to find something recognizable in all of these things when you check out the Ghostbusters board game, or Ghostbusters the board game 2. Judge Dredd: Scorched Earth. Now this Osprey title game, good for 1 to 4 players. If you're a fan of Judge Dredd, you're going to love this even more. This is based on their engine that they did for their Lost Expedition game, following in the footsteps of Percy Fawcett, trying to find the lost city of gold. Well, this uses that engine and puts you in the seat of the judges. And yes, Dredd is one of them. Judge Giant and Judge Anderson. And you have to leave Omega City to go explore the scorched earth to try to find a particular bad guy before another team of perps gets to him first. Now, you're going to have to use your particular skills as judges to survive traveling through the scorched earth, as one experience after another is going to be throwing itself at you. And if you survive long enough to get to the end, you're going to capture them and win the game. This game does bring together a lot of strategy and a lot of hardcore teamwork. And even if you're not a fan of Judge Dredd, I think you're going to enjoy this game. So go check out some more information, maybe a playthrough or two of it. Escape from Dulcie. This is part of the Secret Unknown series, and I do believe there's another big box coming out shortly by them this coming year, maybe. And this game is a tongue-in-cheek dungeon delve like none other I've ever played before. This is about ufology, which is hugely bigger right now than it was a few years back when the game came out. So in this game, it takes so much from UFO mythology and throws it into the box, along with some really fun cryptozoology stuff like Bigfoot and Mothman. And during the course of the game, you're going to be trying to escape from the lower levels all the way up to get out of the top of the mesa. And hopefully if you do that, you survive, you find your way into the next game. Now, they do have some smaller expansions like modules from D&D that are out that explore the rest of this world, and those are definitely worth it to play as well. The miniatures in this game are really fun. I enjoy the system of initiative and the initiative tracker board that it has. Altogether, everything is great, but let's face it, visually, the top dog here in this game is the board itself, the tower, the literal tower that you're going to be running through a maze of rooms through, getting up from one level to the other until you escape. It looks beautiful. Escape from Dulcie is a cooperative game of a sci-fi dungeon delve you may very well be into. Now, you want to sit back and have a little more fun? Even more fun than the tongue-in-cheek UFO cryptozoology game? Well, then let's go back to your childhood, because I'm talking about Choose Your Own Adventure. Z-Man Games has come out with a couple of box games based on Choose Your Own Adventure. And one of them is sci-fi, and that is the War with the Evil Power Master. And in this game, you get to run 4 heroes. And you're going to go from planet system to planet system, trying to track down clues to find the Evil Power Master. So you can eventually meet up with him and do battle and save the universe. This is a really fun game. It was a fun book, and it's worth it. It might not have a super lot of replayability, but for the times you throw it down to the table, which should be one night, you should finish this in one sitting if you want to. It's going to give you a lot of fun. It's written 1980s fun style. There's a bit of a nostalgia in there, but I think that this is a good, fun cooperative game. It's the kind of cooperative game that no matter how many people you have playing it, you're all really basically in discussion of what you want these 4 heroes to do in order to hopefully win the game. So that's a cooperative game with a twist in a sense that it's based on a Choose Your Own Adventure book. So why don't you go see if you can find some more information, maybe a playthrough of War with the Evil Power Master. Star Trek. Yes, there are a few good Star Trek games out there in the market. If you're looking for a good cooperative Star Trek game, 5-year mission always keeps me and the 20-Sided Warriors entertained. This you can play either the original cast or the next generation cast, or you can mix it up. It's not like time travel is an alien concept to Star Trek. In this game, you're going to be dealing with dangers, alerts that they call them, that are going to be happening. Some of them, boom, 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 right on top of the other before the previous one is even finished. Some of them you're going to have time limits on. Some of them there's going to be a communication breakdown, and you and your cooperatively helping player friends are not going to be able to talk to each other, not going to be able to discuss things until that card is dealt with. I really like the fact that between that and the timer, it's dealing with the real world in a sense. Not a lot of board games have aspects to them that do deal with the real world, the table around that they're being played on. And this game does touch on that. If you're a Star Trek fan, this game is going to make you relive some of the best of the classic and next generation episodes. These are all going to come flooding right back to your mind. So yeah, Mayfair Games might be out of print. I'm not sure who's running it right now, but Star Trek, 5-year mission. Go check it out. One more franchise sci-fi to close out this episode before I see you back for part 2. And that's by Gale Force 9, and it's their game of Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks. And in this, the Daleks have all but one. Victory is on the tip of their little proby thing. However, as always, that annoying doctor has shown up. Not only has he shown up, doctors have shown up. Each player in this game gets to play an iteration of the Doctor. And this game, I think, does the best job outside of RPGs in handling the Doctor's. The Doctor comes back, his reincarnation, his rejuvenation, his what do they call it in the very first show? The first time he did it. Oh, I can't remember, but so many, he comes back. And he does. And when this happens, all the players are going to shift the character they're using over to the next player. Everyone is renewed. I think that's what they called it originally the first time it happened. Everyone is going to get a chance to play multiple versions of the Doctor because the Doctor never really dies. Even when he's at his 13th incarnation, don't worry, he'll get more, just like the Master did. We're delving back to some of the really classic old episodes here. But that's because this game relives those classic episodes. The cards that you have to deal with in this dice chucking, dice manipulation game, dice set collection is what you're going to have to deal with, because each card has its own set of dice matches that you're going to have to roll and come up with in a Yahtzee style way. I really do love these Yahtzee style dice chucking games, and Doctor Who Time of the Dalek does a beautiful job of emulating that, as well as emulating the show and the Doctors themselves, even their companions. They're all there. If you're a Doctor Who fan, this may become your favorite board game. All right, so join me for part 2, because there's a lot more great cooperative games that I'm dying to tell you about and help you build up your own board game collection. I'm your buddy Big John G, but Two Gun Fixer presents Legendary Gaming.